Hi, so today we have with us Ms. Rustagi. She is the founder of New Funny, a brain health device that tracks your brain health and helps you improve it. Today we have talked about mental health and entrepreneurship. So it would be a great, insightful podcast, and we welcome her to this exclusive episode of Skilly Exclusive.
Thank you so much, Sarthak, for inviting me. It's a complete pleasure to be doing this with you.
Thanks a lot. We are so grateful to have you. So let's start from the beginning. From your schooling days, how were your schooling days, and how your schooling helped you reach here?
I studied in Amity School, Noida, and my father and my grandfather have been entrepreneurs. Like, so I would be the third generation in doing this, but that kind of did have a role in it because I am a little bit more pro entrepreneurial spirit. I have that kind of mindset, I think. And it will, when we talk about how we came into this, you'll get to know, because my partner was thinking of this as a project and I was like, no, we have to make a business out of it and everything. But when it comes to my schooling part, um, I can't really put those two things together because my schooling experience was very different. I was an introvert. I think deep inside I'm still an introvert. But there I hardly had friends. I was not a person who could, do stage conversations, public speaking, and so on. And I was very conscious, scared, underconfident kid. And the school that I was in, they were full of like very very rich people, so that insecurities and everything were there as a kid, that I don't fit in and I'm not a part of them, kind of an experience. So for me, I was a bright kid. Scored 94 plus in both my 10th and 12th. So yeah, that could be put together into playing a part in my entrepreneurship. But other than
Okay.
that, nothing. Only just added to my insecurities and my lack of confidence as a kid. That's it.
Right. So when we talk about entrepreneurship and schooling, usually we see two categories of entrepreneurs, right? The
Mm-hmm.
ones who might have dropped out of their school right after school or might be dropping out of their college, or
Right.
there are one set of entrepreneurs who have done professionally and educationally really well, academically they are very sound, and then they got into entrepreneurship, right? So I guess
Right.
so what's your take on that? What actually, what actually should be the right thing to do?
No, I don't believe there is right thing to do anything, very frankly. So
Okay.
I don't like to follow a particular path per se. I didn't follow one. I did my bachelor's, did my master's, had no interest in doing entrepreneurship, and just ended up being here. So you could be a 10th pass out, as a matter of fact. You could be a fifth grade, sixth grade pass out. You could be a Harvard graduate, or you could be anybody, and it has nothing to do with entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship has everything to do with your resilience, your confidence, your dedication, and all those things, but nothing with regards to your schooling or education. That's my
Okay.
opinion.
All right. So because we usually get inspired from Mark Zuckerberg or maybe Nikhil Kamath, who started Zerodha, right? So these are the people who dropped out of their college and then they started up. So and you started up after getting years of experience. Maybe I think you were in Nanyang University in Singapore,
Yes.
and then you went to
To
various other
Germany.
organizations, right?
Yes.
You have worked at a corporate as well. So
Yes.
how was that experience starting from college, if we take, and then working at corporates? So I think that was a major that played a major role in your entrepreneurship journey.
Definitely. That definitely did, because I did engineering,
Yeah.
and uh, and that's where I met my husband and like my co-founder. So that skill, like engineering is a very challenging degree that you do, and specifically like my college, they had exams every second month, and you had to give exams in the five, like each semester had three exams, like three series
Okay.
of exams, and each series would have all the subjects covered. So it was not per se mainly about the education, it's about the challenges that you take, you know. So
Okay.
it's that exam, how you prepare for the exam, so that planning part comes into picture. And then during those exams, that fear, that stress, how do you manage your stress for your performance? Now that part comes into the picture. Then results, failure, how do you take that? So it wasn't that engineering is more good, is better than BBA. It's just that if a university has a different set of examinations, it challenges you, it prepares you for the life. And that I think is way more important. Like I was shit scared as a kid. Like, you know, I was the person who had to score good marks. So having
Right.
bad marks was not okay for me, and that's a part of my upbringing and my mindset. It had nothing to do with my home putting pressure on me. But that engineering part, and then me going to Singapore for my masters. But then I was preparing for gate before that, gate exam, and I couldn't get into IITs. I got into triple ITs and triple ITs and NITs, and I wasn't okay with that, you know. So I kind of went through a very bad phase, where 6 to 9 months there was lack of confidence, there was self-doubt, there was anxiety, there was early onsets of depression and panic attacks. But then at that, with that gate exam, I got into gate, I got into Singapore NTU, Nanyang Technological University. And then, you know, I was like, okay, now I'm doing good, you know. Now Singapore
So
played a very important.
how
Yes.
come you manage that anxiety and those
At that time I had
stress?
no idea. I couldn't, I didn't manage it, very frankly. I didn't manage it. And that's what you always do, right? Like you, like now I can even put these words to that experience. At that time I didn't even know it was anxiety. I was just an angry kid. I was
Okay.
angry at my friends. I was angry at my family. I used to seclude myself from my family. I didn't hang out with them enough. So those were the things that I was doing. But and at that particular point of time, I never used those words to my experience, you know, because it
Right.
was a bad thing to have, like anxiety.
Absolutely. So I think academically well groomed child, I would say, who has scored 95, 94% in his class 12. Certainly, not cracking IITs would be a setback, and that's what I think landed up. That's where you landed up at Nanyang University.
Exactly, exactly. And then that resilience and that stress helped me stay alone in a foreign country, manage my
Right.
expenses, do everything, become independent, all those things. And then when I moved from Singapore to Germany, my sister was hospitalized. Uh,
Right.
for a brain infection. I was in Germany when I was doing my thesis. My family was going through the worst phase ever possible for anybody, as a matter of fact.
Right.
You know, there's
Right.
nothing worse than this. Uh, so it was all those experiences that all together added to me being the person that I am. And you know, that person now, based on the challenges, resilience, strength, power, whatever you want to call it, uh, helps in being a good entrepreneur.
Okay. Okay. So how did Pangtech started? You said you started it as a project, right? I
And
think.
I didn't started it. It was my boyfriend then,
Okay.
husband now, who
Okay.
came to Germany in 2018 uh, for
Okay.
his master's degree in human computer interface. And he always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and he wanted to create a consumer wearable device, but the brain part was not there. It could have been any consumer tech device, you know. But then when he went into the human computer interface, he got a professor who guided him to get into this. And then when he said he wants to create something for the brain, I said that then you have to create something that helps people. You know, it can't be
Right.
a fashionable tech, or it can't be something which is for gaming. It has to be something for a cause and an impact which helps people. So it
Right.
was his project in which I, you know, used to help him out because his team wasn't very good. That I did as a girlfriend, but then I got so involved by the response that I saw and by the impact that I could feel, that I said
Right.
that, we have to make a business out of it.
Okay, so what actually are you guys making? I saw it's a head wearable device that actually
Exactly.
tracks your brain health, but I would like to dig deep into it. What exactly are you trying to solve?
Sure. So, like your smartwatch. Imagine 10 years back, you didn't have any device which could monitor your blood pressure, your heart rate at home. It was all those. You used to go to a physician that
Yeah,
I'm feeling pain in my heart. What's my blood pressure? What's my heart rate?
yeah,
10-15 years back, that's how it was. Then slowly and steadily it came into house home devices, where you had this sugar machine, all those
absolutely.
things. And then you could have a small portable device which you could use at home to monitor your blood pressure. And then it came into wearable device, because there then application came that if you monitor your body
Yeah,
daily, it helps you understand it, your lifestyle, your eating habits, your sleeping patterns, so that you can be more fit. So
okay,
just on these concepts, uh, like ECG is your heart rate, EEG is your brain wave, electroencephalograph,
okay,
and we use that brain activity. 15 years back it was only available in the hospitals, where you see ECG and EEG, where they do a psychometric analysis to help you diagnose and understand mental health conditions and neurological disorders. But the amount of research that has been done in this field, that EEG concept from the hospitals came out into homes for kids who have ADHD, for example, or
right,
people who are diagnosed with mental health conditions. Then it came to home. And now it has come into wearable devices, so that common people like you and me can use that device with a mobile application or a desktop application to
hmm,
help see what's your attention score, what's your resilience, what's your stress scores, how easily can you relax, and which activities help you be better focused and better relaxed, so that when
right,
you want to work you can use those activities. When to drink coffee, how much, maybe you drink coffee for 10 days straight, and then there is a dependency, and then your eventual focus levels decrease, because that natural boost is not there anymore. Like you're taking something, right? You're dependent on something. So this is the concept in technology which is called as neurofeedback. And Newfini is based on neurofeedback, that it captures activity from your brain.
hmm,
And as common people don't understand that, so we convert it into user understandable formats. You understand mood, right? So I give you
right,
3 moods based on your brain: positive, negative, neutral. You understand focus and distraction, right? So if you wear the device for 15-20 minutes, I'll show you how your brain journey, how your brain activity is toggling. So then I'm going to give you a stressful situation. I'm going to ask you to focus and then see how your brain activity toggles. And then it creates insights. And then you can see, okay, when I meditate in the morning or when I listen to this particular music in the evening, it gives me a very good focus score.
right,
And
right.
then you get used to that. So it's called as, now this concept then becomes biohacking. You listen to your brain, you hack your lifestyle so that you can improve your body. And this is what New Funny, my product, is based upon.
So talking to you, like listening to you right now, the only thing that comes to my mind is that scene from Three Idiots, right, where Amir Khan said
Exactly.
कि engineers बड़े चालाक होते हैं, they never made a machine जो दिमाग का pressure नाप सके, right? So
Completely right.
so that
It's
is what.
exactly that.
Okay, it's exactly that. So what was actually how what were the challenges that you guys faced? Because building such a product where so much of tech is involved, especially biotech, I guess biotech is one of the parts, right, uh,
Correct.
where you are analyzing the brain waves or the functions of the brain and then converting it into a user-friendly experience on the app, right? So what were the
Right.
initial challenges that you faced and how actually did you cope up with them?
So basically, okay. uh, See, we both are engineers, we both are master's degree, so the engineering part wasn't the most difficult. The difficult part was building the team of people who could understand and help us build that. So example, we both come from hardware, so hardware was comparatively easier than the software for us. If I talk about 1 year back, 2 years back,
Okay.
we hired a lot of people to help us build the software. Bhavya himself did a lot of the coding and building the base of the product. Uh, but not like, I think we switched 5 times our software developers. Nobody could understand and build this for us in India, like the software mobile application aspect.
Right.
And it was just last, I think this year, where I'm really confident about my software now, finally. So, hiring the right people, hiring the right team who understand your product, building the software, that has been the most difficult part. Because, see, example, if I have a phone and I want to
Right.
sell that phone, so I'm gonna get salespeople from another phone company, correct? Because they know how to sell a phone. A person who can sell a detergent may or may not sell a phone.
Right.
But when it comes to mental health, there's a lot of stigma around it. So first,
Absolutely.
I, as the first movers in this field, have to break the barriers, and I
Yeah.
am going to create the field for everybody coming after me. So, finding the strategy, like, would you be interested in buying my product directly, or would you want to go it via a psychotherapist part, or do you want to go and get it at a wellness corner? How would you purchase this product? See, I know you need it,
Yeah.
but how will I convince you? Via which platform, via which location, or should I put it at Reliance? Because then it becomes a tech product, and then you'll be more fascinated by it than a psychotherapist. So understanding the market, digging the right people, and then training those people, because since mental health is a very stigmatized place, and there's lack of awareness around it, I also have to train my team in it, that, see, this is what mental health really means. You won't understand it other than that. Mental, if you have a brain, you have a mental health. It's as easy. So
Right.
example, people who live a very healthy life, never smoke, never drink, they still get lung cancer, right? So
Hmm.
you could do the best of everything, but still you can have mental health issues, like you have physical health issues, and it's completely fine. It just becomes difficult with people who have uh, neurological or mental health conditions, like I have PTSD. So it just becomes a little bit difficult, but it doesn't make me having a mental health issue more probable than you, basically. It's possible I am stronger because of my journey, whereas
Right.
you, because of no trauma or no challenge per se in life, have more issues. So and issues, when I say, if you have anger, if you are
Right.
unable to take decisions, if
Hmm.
you judge people, if you do all those things, you have mental health issues. If you're not
Okay.
confident about yourself and questioning yourself all through it, you have mental health issues. And this is what we say, like, is a part of mental health.
Okay. So I'll just stop you here. You said that uh, even judging people or let's say uh, being an introvert is also a mental health problem, right?
Introvert is not. Judging
Okay.
can be, because it can come from lack of self confidence
Okay.
and projecting your own insecurities.
Okay.
So,
So
example,
new
if
funny. So new funny is basically helping people identify those mental health issues, right?
exactly.
So how do people solve it? Like, is there a reward system that helps people doing it again and again? Because if I talk about mental health, and especially if you give me a device to wear on my head, maybe even if it's a 5 or 10 minutes activity for a day, right? I would be a little bit reluctant, to be honest, right?
Can
So
you
how
come
are you
again?
solving that problem?
Can you come again, please?
I'm
The
saying
last question.
in India, first of
Mhm.
all, mental health is not very much looked up to, right?
Mhm.
People generally ignore mental health.
Mhm.
So, is there a reward system for people who are using your product? And
Yes, definitely. We've
and
gamified the
second
whole
question,
experience.
yeah, and second question is like people are very much reluctant to wearing something on their head. Like even if you go to someone and tell them just wear it on your head, most of the people would be a bit reluctant. "अरे क्या है, घर- सर पे पहनना है," right? So how are
So,
you solving that?
So the first thing is you asked that are there any rewards? Yes, there are rewards. There's gamification. So you just don't have to wear it. We make you do breathing techniques, we make you meditate, we make you listen to music as well using
Okay.
our mobile application, because
All right.
music, meditations, breathing has been treated as one of the best therapy techniques there are to drain your brain. You know, like like yoga is to your brain,
Yeah.
yoga is to your body, meditation is to your brain.
Okay.
So that we've gamified the whole thing like a smartwatch, and that's why the tagline "smartwatch for your brain."
So it's,
Um,
it's a whole new category of variables, right?
exactly. Not a whole new category. Uh, it is smart wearables. You know, it's as equal to a smartwatch. Very frankly,
Okay. It's just a variable
for
for
your
your
brain.
head, for your brain.
Exactly. And when you said about the concerning part, no, you already put multiple variables on your head, from your headphones to your earphones to your smart glasses now. So,
Right.
very frankly, that concern I've never faced. That people don't want to put anything over your head, and you don't
Right.
have to wear it daily. Very frankly, and you don't have to
Okay.
wear it all the time. You have to wear it 15 minutes in a day. That's it, and that is like too good. Like we assume people would wear it twice or thrice a week, but no,
Maybe when people are meditating, they can wear it, right? Or
that's the
maybe
whole
when
point.
when
The
yoga.
whole point is not that when you meditate, you wear it. Obviously, you wear it when you meditate, but people who don't meditate, I make them wear the device and then make them meditate as well.
Okay.
So,
So
meditation
that's
is
why
the
they.
tool, and
Yeah.
euphony is the device and the technology which will make you do that, because not a lot of people go into meditation because of the wrong misconceptions around it.
All right. Okay. So how much time did you guys take to actually research and build on it? Because what I feel is entrepreneurship is all about solving the right problem, and
Mhm.
before solving it, we should actually identify what exactly the problem is.
2 years.
Because two years you did only
So
research work.
2019, 2018 December
Okay.
to 2020, like while we were building, because you can't just do research, you have to do real research. Real research means not sitting just behind the computer, but by taking a sample, going out in the market and asking people to wear something. So we
Yeah.
built 3D printed prototypes, we built something that could capture the data, have them take their feedback and do everything until 2020.
Yeah.
We asked people 2020, yes, 29th September 2020 and December 2018. These 2 years we did the research, and then we started. Once we were comfortable with what people were saying, and people loved what we were building, and they gave us a positive market feedback, that's when we started the manufacturing, design, and everything. And all of this was done both in India and in Germany, because we were building this device while we were in Germany.
So you did all the research and everything in Germany, right?
Yeah.
So you know, what was the reaction of your parents when you told them actually that okay, after studying and being academically really well, after being at corporates, and I guess when being at corporates, you held a few key positions, right? You were contributing majorly contributing towards those companies. And when you told your parents, what was their reaction? That okay, I'm now getting into entrepreneurship.
So actually, so as I said, my from my family, this is the third generation
Yeah.
into business. So they were pretty much okay with that. They were just concerned of me moving from Germany to India,
Okay.
because I haven't lived in India for the past 7 years, and this year I moved to India. So they were just like scared and concerned, will I be able to adjust well and so on. But entrepreneurship and always like that fear
Yeah.
is always maybe there as a parent deep inside, that
Yeah.
I had a very secure job, like a very well high paying, and
Yeah.
then leaving all that and coming into the financial insecurity around entrepreneurship, that was there. And when it comes to even Bhavya's family, it was like very well supported, right? Like
Yeah.
that go for it, like no questions asked. So like that was the easiest part, like just go for it. Nobody, I think, like I can't even come together like either of the families like ever asked even a single question around it.
That's really great. I guess that's a different answer that I've got till now. I've talked to a couple of founders who started up maybe in their late 20s, early 30s, and at first their parents were a bit reluctant, right? And they actually sometimes they completely denied कि यार corporate job है, you have a secure future, you have career prospects ahead, right? Why do you want to quit? So I guess your scenario was a bit different, and actually supportive parents, I guess that's a blessing when you are heading towards entrepreneurship.
Oh, definitely. That you do definitely need
Yeah,
because things can
absolutely.
go
Like you
south
have,
anytime.
yeah, you have people backing you even before getting investments. I've heard people telling कि यार raising investment is not just about money. You have people backing you, right?
Yeah, like my father was the first investor into the company.
Oh, tell us about something about your funding rounds, and then we'll jump on to the
My
topic.
father's funding was the pre-seed round that we did, and
Okay.
then that was in 2020, like exactly when I was telling you, right? Like we did the market validation, and then we decided, okay, we want to move to the next step.
Yeah.
So, before that, me and Bhavya were investing into the company, like from my job in Germany.
Okay.
So, 2 years we invested like somewhere around like 75 into the
Okay.
company, and then we raised a pre-seed round in 2020, and then we did a seed round last year of
Okay.
2.5 CR.
All right. All right. So how
That was
difficult was
definitely
raising?
difficult because it's easier to convince your parents, but it's
Yeah.
easier to convince people outside of your family to give you money.
Yeah. So the people who have invested, like, are they VCs or they are
Angels and
basically
institutional investors.
okay? Because generally, what I've seen, especially in this segment where there is health and there is wearables involved, there are people who actually belong to that sector, right? Maybe it could be pharma sector or it could be a medical device sector. So, are there advisors in your team who are helping you developing that product and also invested?
So basically, huh, okay. Uh, it was very difficult to get the investors. Specifically, you're a mental health startup,
Yeah.
then you add hardware to it,
Yes.
and these are two fields which are the I think quite less invested in
Yes.
as a industry.
Hardware is the least invested, I guess, because
Exactly, and
people
then
are
you add
more.
hardware to upper mental health hardware.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I still remember like when that Shark Tank pitch of Annie, if you
Mm-hmm.
have watched it,
Yes, yes,
even the sharks were very much reluctant to investing in it because they were moving it with the hardware, right?
right.
So so I guess was it the same case with you, or you faced something else?
Okay, so hmm. Yes, it was hesitant. Like for us, it was different because it was not the hardware that they were least interested in, it was the model. And my model is different. So I don't only sell my hardware, and so they had just the hardware, they didn't have any software. Any.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
have a hardware and software, so that question was addressed anyways. Then the
yeah.
second thing, their hardware was way expensive than ours.
Okay,
Third, we do have a pod model where people don't invest in hardware, but
yeah.
they invest in the sessions that you do. So example, across 5 locations already in India, you can go to and get a new finish session for $400. So
And that session is
the
for
other
for an
question
hour.
is also addressed.
So that session is for an hour or for 15 minutes?
It's for 30 minutes.
Okay, okay. And who are you like? I've seen. Okay, I'll just dig more into it about your how you approach people, how you reached out your first set of customers, because that's what the most challenging part is. After product, you made the product right, you got the right investors, and you are about to reach. You have tested your MVP. But
Mm-hmm.
now, when it comes to really launching it to a mass, right? So, how did you go about it? Because if it's a mental health startup, doctors and pharmacies are one of the ways. But when it comes to core, solving it to the core, I guess software is the best part. So what was your strategy there?
So actually, we had launched our product worldwide because when we launched the product, it was in 2021. like
Okay.
2020, late 2020, we'll pre-launched the product to see, and we launched it worldwide. So
Okay.
outside India,
Yeah.
like our first 10 customers were outside India.
Okay.
So, and it was not very easy, I would say, but it was as comparatively easy because the whole of 2020, I was doing conversations around mental health, neurofeedback, what we want to do, what you want to build. So,
Right.
people invested in the vision and in us when they purchased our products then. And
Absolutely.
then
Because that
eventually
was
we
the
exposed
lockdown time,
people.
right?
And can you
When
come
you were
again?
making it. I'm saying that was the lockdown time, right? When you were making it or maybe reaching out to
Yes,
people.
it was the end. Yes, it was end of 2020. It was lockdown.
Yeah. So how did you do that? Because launching a product like that, uh,
It
being
was
in
actually
lockdown.
easier in lockdown because people knew what mental health issues they were going through. So, as I said, we didn't have any campaigns. I didn't go and meet people physically. It was all digital, where I was doing lives around neurofeedback, this technology, what I want to do, why I'm doing this, and everything. And people got invested. They like invested, as in say they purchased my product because they believed I could do something nice, and I will create a product which would help. And obviously there were USPs around the product that we were building, so that made it way easier.
So you built a digital brand around your product, and then
Yes.
you launched it when, as soon as the lockdown ended.
The lockdown never ended, very frankly, until 2021. I
Yeah.
launched my product in September 2020.
Okay. So that time I think it was again lockdown when you launched it.
Yeah, so but the lockdown had nothing to do with Newfini as a brand because it was all digital. And lockdown per se was helping people understand their mental health better. So during lockdown, after lockdown was really not a problem for us, very frankly. When it comes to marketing, obviously it was an issue because there was a lot of development that still had to be done, and we
Hmm.
couldn't do the development fast enough because of the multiple lockdowns in India.
Right. Right. So now, coming back to the founder's mindset, like we see many of the companies led by people, right? There are, right now, if I say about the markets, the startup bubble is now getting to burst, right? The companies, the most funded companies, well-established companies are facing losses, and a majority role is played by the founders even now. Like they are trying to revamp their companies or maybe restructure their companies. So coming to the founders, what does a founder actually do in the early stage? Is he or she someone who is a jack of all trades, or if you have a co-founder, you divide your responsibilities? So what actually
So
is so what
so we
actually is
both
the
are
journey?
co-founders. So if you're a single founder, you have to be somebody who does everything, but not very nicely. And so one thing which is very important is you need to know when to hire the right people. You need to know that this is not in your hands anymore. And
Right.
when it's when you work as co-founders, then obviously the first thing is that the load gets divided into half. But even then, your plate, still you need to decide when you need to take things off your plate and give it to somebody else's plate. So that is every individual founder, multiple founders, two founders, or four founders.
Yeah.
It just makes it more easier if there are more people, but it also makes it more complicated because there's a conflict of interest can happen sometimes.
Yeah. So
So
how
those two
how do you
things.
handle that? Because two people working on the same project would be having different
Not
viewpoints, right?
So they work on the
Might be
same
having.
project, but they work on different departments. Like me and Bhavya have, so firstly, we are married. So it just
Yeah.
makes everything way easier because there's a chemistry, there's an understanding. I never question his intention, he never questions mine. So, example, if there were two people, two co founders, one is always partying and the other is, for example, working, there'll be
Yeah.
insecurity.
Right. Right.
But when it comes to husband wife, even if I take a day off, 2 days off, and he hasn't taken a day off in a month, it won't matter because you know that you both have to get in this together. First thing. Then the
Yeah.
second thing is, you don't like do everything. It's like, you divide it in half and half. So it's not that two people are working on one project. Even if it's one project, there are different departments to it. So he takes care of tech. He builds the tech.
Okay.
He gets people to train
Okay.
and build the tech, and I do everything outside of that. It could be marketing, business, sales, finance, investment, and management. That is me. So when it comes to his part, I don't have an upper hand. He has the upper hand. But
Right.
then when it comes to marketing or anything, then I have the upper hand. So if he gives me
Okay.
my opinion, it's up to me to take or not to take. And
Okay.
this
So
is how it should be, because
yeah,
there should be a little bit overlap, but there should be not enough that there are too many cooks spoil the broth kind of a situation.
yeah, yeah. I'll just pick up one point. You said you handle marketing and business development and stuff, right? So
Right.
being an introvert at school and then jumping into marketing and entrepreneurship, these are two very different experiences. Because and
Yes.
being a marketer, you require a level of being an extrovert, right? You have to
Yes.
talk to a number of people. So how did that shift happen? Did it happen during your college times, or you developed this
It
habit?
didn't. It didn't happen until I entered entrepreneurship. So like we both are introverts, but Bhavya is the one building the tech. So I was very bad at it when I started, very frankly. But he was, let's say, he was confident, more confident than me when we started entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
But what he used to talk wasn't very lame and consumer friendly. And while I couldn't talk, I knew what he speaks. If he gets to speak, it won't
yeah,
we won't go long, because he's building. So he goes deep inside. He can talk a lot about the product, and
yes,
not what we are currently or what I want to sell, but maybe
yeah,
deep inside. So he'll have amazing conversations with tech people because he's building it. It's his child. But
right,
maybe not everybody could understand that. My consumers definitely might or might not understand
yeah,
that.
yeah,
So I had to scale and learn fast if I wanted him not to work on this. And I like believe like he his mind is like very sharp. So I like to keep him away from distractions when it comes to tech. Like if I make him work on tech all day, all night, I know that there will be a product that will just change the whole world. It's
yeah.
just that if I make him do anything other than that, then he might not do this as good enough as the other things. So,
Okay.
so let him do what he's really good at. And then so I had
Yeah,
to
so
scale fast.
basically you have clearly divided roles and responsibilities that are helping you develop more
Ex-
and grow more, right?
Exactly.
So now that I'll just dig deep into more into entrepreneurship. So now that entrepreneurship is being cool, right? Entrepreneurship is now cooler in India, maybe because of Shark Tank or maybe because of this wave that is happening. So
Hmm.
what do you see the next big thing, the next big problem that the upcoming startups should try to solve?
It is mental health. Mental health has been called as a bigger pandemic than COVID.
Okay.
It is. It's everywhere. In COVID, people felt mental health was the bigger challenge that was coming up people's way. It
Yes.
is highly growing. You won't like. You just 3 days back, 4 days back, Misho announced 11 days compulsory off
Yes.
mental health.
Absolutely.
All of this is happening around mental health. People who are into the current industries also have to start caring about mental health.
Okay, so what do you feel like now that students are adopting entrepreneurship? There is curriculum being introduced in entrepreneurship. So do you feel that entrepreneurship can really be taught, or it's just a journey and an experience?
It's a journey and an experience. You can't teach entrepreneurship. My brother did BBA and I did engineering,
Yeah.
and I am more pro entrepreneur than him. Like he still has to learn. He works with my father.
Okay.
So he still has a lot to learn, and he came from the management field. So I just feel it's an experience, it's a vision, it's your inner motivation. Like it has nothing else to do. Like your education has nothing to do with entrepreneurship.
Right. So one last question, like I ask this every time to every founder. If it was, in your case, if it was not new funny or punk tech, right? And if you still was to choose entrepreneurship as a career, be building. Like it's a
I never
random question.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's just
As I said, I never wanted to do entrepreneurship. I was very happy engineer. I had a alternate, and if it wasn't brain health, mental health, social impact, I wouldn't have done it. The only other thing that comes to my mind, like when Newfini becomes too successful, I
Hmm.
want to start my own NGO,
Okay.
like around mental health. But
So
again,
again, social impact and mental health.
yes, 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 definitely yes.
All right. So any okay, so we are towards the end, and do you have any advice, any piece of advice, or let's say three pointers for the upcoming entrepreneurs, student entrepreneurs who are building but might not
Hmm.
able to find the right direction or might not be able to figure out a perfect solution to the problem?
Okay, so I have generally like this one advice,
Yeah.
which can be then divided into three, but I'm gonna just give that don't like you should be your biggest motivator and critique. You should not look for validation outside of your own self. Like for example, when I started entrepreneurship, if my parents would have said no, I would think would have still done it. And nobody should be your bigger critique for you. So example, if somebody says no, but you should feel that this is the right or the wrong for yourself. So you should be your biggest motivator and your biggest critic. No, don't let anybody else tell you anything other than that.
Yeah. Got it. I think that's a really cool piece of advice because many a times, like people's advice actually, uh, I would say, distract you from the real problem and the product you're building.
Exactly.
Right. I think that's a great piece of advice, and thank you so much for coming up. And that's it. I will just wrap it up. And
Thank you so
thanks,
much,
thanks
Sarthak,
for
for inviting me.
it was really an enlightening session talking about mental health and how you are solving it for the world, I would say, because I've never ever seen such a variable, right? So it's really great talking to you, and hope
Thank
to
you so much.
host you.
Likewise.
Yeah, hope to host more sessions with you in the future. Thanks a lot.
Definitely. Anytime.
Right.